Hello, everyone. This is David, and welcome to Week 5, Session 5 of Business Communications, your second course in the FedEx Business Essentials Certificate Program. This week, we're going to take up the topic of something that is quite common in the workplace, but also something that is uncommonly frightening, and that is presentations. Presentations is just another word for public speaking. And public speaking is Americans' number one fear, above even death. So I bet you can't wait to get started. I can't wait to get started because the information that you're going to encounter this week is going to be truly helpful in your thinking about, in your preparation, in your giving of presentations, something that's very, very important. Don't believe me? Let's take a look at this man right here. His name is Bill Lane, and he was a speechwriter for Jack Welch for 20 years. In his book, Jacked Up, Lane wrote, "Leaders who weren't superlative presenters simply could not be leaders in Jack Welch's GE." So, do you honestly think that presentation skills aren't just as important in other large, complex, dominant corporate environments such as, let's say, FedEx? Yes, they are. Another reason they are very important. Think about this. In Business Communications 505, taught in the MBA program at Jack Welch Management Institute, the students every week spend some time on developing what is called executive presence. Executive presence is a combination of authenticity and confidence that is expressed while you're live, one-to-one with someone, or also in presentations. Very, very important. Now, some of the most important information that you're going to encounter this week comes from this person right here. Her name is Nancy Duarte. Now, she has an excellent YouTube channel that you really should check out. She gives out a lot of good techniques and information for free. Here are just a few of the takeaways for you. One is digital scenery. Duarte says that you should think about your slides as digital scenery. And that's a really interesting and important phrase. In other words, a slide is a visual accompaniment to what you say, not a transcript of what you say. Second, Duarte says to write your presentation first, then do the slides. This prevents you from falling into the trap of using your slides for composing your presentation, which should be done in documents. If you're going to compose something, compose it in a document. Now, making that simple change of writing your script first before designing your slides can be one of the most important outcomes for you when it comes to improving your presentations. Now, another important point that I want to make to you is this. I would like to encourage you to think about bullet points. I would like to encourage you to think about reducing the number of bullet points and even eliminating the use of bullet points in your presentations. I know that sounds a little outside the Overton window, a little bit ahead of the curve, but let me give you 4 good scientific reasons why you should rethink and possibly eliminate your use of bullet points. Ready? 1. The redundancy effect. If your brain receives the same input from the auditory channel, someone speaking, and the visual channel, the text on the slide, at the same time, your brain cannot adequately process simultaneous identical inputs. The brain either shuts one off or it shuts down, just stops paying attention. Does that help explain the lack of attention in a lot of the presentations you've been a part of? 2, the picture superiority effect. Science tells us that ideas and information are better remembered when presented as visuals accompanied by words instead of words alone. A picture really is worth 1,000 words. Remember the memory drop-off chart from week 1? You might remember it because I showed you a visual. And that visual showed that after 3 days, we remember only 10% of what someone said, but we remember 65% if they presented the info using a strong visual. Number 3, language processing speed. The fact is, we can read nearly twice as fast as we can hear. That's right, we can read and process 300 words per minute, but we can hear and process effectively only about 150 words per minute. What does this mean? Obviously, your audience can finish reading your slide silently to themselves while you're still reading it out loud. Of course they stop listening to you. They don't need to hear you. They're done, waiting on you. 4, limits on working memory. As we reviewed in week 1 and 2, human memory capacity is limited to about 2 to 4 chunks of info, with 3 being optimal. So, what about the old 6x6 rule for PowerPoints? No more than 6 bullets per slide, no more than 6 words per bullet? Well, that's been the problem. As a slide fills up with bullets, working memory becomes overloaded. Now, how well can the audience listen to you with their working memory filled to capacity? Now, all of this raises a very serious, very scientific question. What do you do? And the answer is create visual presentations. This means you use slides as digital scenery, just as Nancy Duarte said. Make the slide a visual accompaniment to the words coming from you, the presenter, the star of the show. Once free from being a transcript or a summary of your words, the slide can now have a visual impact that aids memory and provides an emotional connection to you and to the presentation. Want to learn how to do it? It's simple. Let's go. All you have to do is think in terms of a billboard. Yeah, the ones you see along our roads and highways. Here's what billboard artists know that you must also know and apply. You've got 3 seconds. 3 seconds for that slide to do its job. With such a limited amount of time, you're forced to limit the amount of text and to maximize the slide's visual impact. You see, this is not a slide. It's a slidument. That weird, neither fish nor fowl thing that aspires to be a slide but falls short and is the root of all bad presentations. Now, this takes us back to Nancy Duarte's advice. First, write your document. And once you have a script, a document, then and only then, design your slides. Go back to that document, circle the key ideas, or select a few words and a powerful image to convey that idea, like this one. Images are one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to giving a presentation. The caveat, of course, you must choose them wisely in order for them to achieve their purpose. And that purpose is to show your ideas. Think of your presentation as a time to show ideas, not slides. Don't focus on what you've done. Focus on what you've discovered, on what you believe to be true that will make a difference for the audience you're speaking to. In other words, take over the presentation. Don't let the technology control what you do. Make your presentation as individual as you can, even if that means sometimes blasting the corporate template to smithereens, or any template for that matter. In other words, don't be afraid to be an individual and to do it your way. Okay, stepping down off of soapbox and getting back to week 5. You're going to be thinking about presentations, most importantly because next week, week 6, you're going to be designing and giving a presentation as part of your final project. So good luck on this week's work. Let's get started thinking deeply about what really makes for an effective presentation.